Hello, my amazing Teams family. I am so glad that we had an opportunity to get started with our Bias Busters journey. We had some really rich conversation, and we're going to continue over the next few weeks carrying that conversation into different avenues so that we can dig a little bit deeper within so we can understand how we become more entrenched in what equity, inclusion, and diversity can look like and should look like, not only in the workplace and the community, but in our own personal lives. This week, your assignment is to look at two videos I'm going to share with you. The first video is called The Labels We Carry. The second video is called That Little Voice. I want you to look at those videos a couple of times. They're pretty short, maybe 2 minutes on each one, 2 to 3 minutes. And I want you to think about how that video makes you think about diversity, equity, and inclusion. Diversity being the different people and things that we have the opportunity to engage with. Inclusion, not just saying, hey, I acknowledge you're there, but finding ways to bring people into the space that we're in so that they can engage in some of the same experiences that we have. That's truly inclusion. Diversity and inclusion are two different things. Sometimes we're diverse, but we're not inclusive. So really think about how that diversity, those differences, the things that make us unique, how those things can be brought into our lives so that they are more included. And then equity. Think about the power of equity. Sometimes we think if we have, I'm just using this for example, a candy bar, and I break you off a piece and give you a piece, I'm being equitable. But if my piece is this big and your piece is that big, that's not really equity. So I'm going to take that candy bar and I'm going to find the best way to divide it so that we have each equal amounts. That truly is what equity can look like. And a lot of times we may have a woman who's able to work in the same space a man works, but that doesn't mean that it's equitable. They may be treated differently. Their pay scale may be different. So it's not equitable. So think about what equity, diversity, and inclusion can mean in our settings, whether it's work or community or personal lives. So in that video, The Labels We Carry, I want you to look at that video and then give me a paragraph, 5 to 7 sentences about how that made you think and feel about what equity looks like, what inclusion looks like. How did it make you shift your mindset about what you experience from day to day? Then you're going to take a look at the video called That Little Voice, and you're going to write me a paragraph and tell me, have you ever experienced anything like that? Have you been on the other side where you felt somebody was talking about you because of your differences, whether it's religion or race or gender? Was it anything like that that you experienced? Or have you been on the other side where somebody was saying those kinds of ugly things and you were right there in that space? How did you react? Did you speak up, or did you just kind of wait and see what was going to happen? Because those are things that we have to have conversations about. What are we doing in the moment to create the change that we want to see? Because it does no good if we see all this stuff, but we don't move to action. This is about more than getting knowledge from me. This is about thinking in your individual lives how you can take what I'm telling you and sharing with you and experiencing with you, how you can take those things and move them to action. So I want you to think about how are you moving things to action. So watch my two videos, dig inside yourself, give me one paragraph on how the video, The Labels We Carry, made you think about diversity, equity, and inclusion. There is no right or wrong answer. Don't get hung up on spelling and commas, even though I am an English person who loves checking punctuation and grammar. I won't do that to y'all. Y'all are my family and friends. You can write the way you want to as long as you understand it. But you are educators. That's all I'm going to say. And then when you get to That Little Voice, think about, have you ever been in a situation where that little voice spoke to you? How did you react to that little voice? And then when we come back to the class, we're going to unpack it. I also want you guys to take the word poor, P-O-O-R, and I want you to reframe the definition of it. Put it in a word, an acronym that tells us that it's seen in a negative way. and then think about how you can reframe it and take those same letters and put it in a positive way, a more structural way of thinking. So I got my deficit over here, the negative way to view the word or think about the word poor, and then the more structural way to think about the word poor, because those two things can help drive how we move into more equity, more diversity, and more inclusion. Whew, okay, that's all I got to say about that. I'll see you guys on Friday. Bye.